What's going on, y'all? As you see by the title, this video is going to be a little different. But shout out Mundo first and foremost before I even get into anything for just suggesting this idea to me. Um, I've been deep into journaling and reading and taking notes as I'm reading, and today I decided to do that with a book I'm currently on right now, Nicomachean Ethics by Aristotle. Uh, so I'm doing all of this, with these notes you see me writing in the video. So bear with me. It won't be exactly verbatim what he said at times, and sometimes it's gonna be exactly what he said. I just wrote down the things that stood out to me. So without further ado, I'm just gonna get straight into it. Uh, so the book I'm going over is one of many books in Nicomachean Ethics, and it's Moral Choice and Responsibility. Now we start this off with the fact that virtues and vice are within our power. Whatever we can act on, we can also not act on, and vice versa. If doing something is not in our power, so is refraining from it. And that's simple, right? And I'm pretty sure that's something we all can understand and look at, and it's not some extravagant idea. But just hearing it, even to start this off, was it stood out to me because I never really thought about how, yes, acting is something I control, but if I don't act, I'm just as guilty. Like if there's something that I know I can or I know I should do and I don't do it, I should hold myself to a certain standard. And if not doing it hurts anybody in that process, or even if it hurts me, I have nobody to put that on but myself. And that leads into the next note that I've written, which is our actions can only be traced back to ourselves. The origin of those actions lie within us and are voluntary. So it's by choice, no matter what we do. Especially in this current day and age, we have a lot of freedom. So what we decide to do and not to do are completely on us. And that just opens the door of accountability, right? Like if I don't do something when I could have, I should take full accountability for it. I can't blame anybody for it. So that was something that I like. He also goes on to say people are responsible for the characters they develop. Someone with improper behavioral tendencies becomes such a character through careless living or ignorance. They become unjust through unjust actions and lack any self-control due to indulgent activities. Particular actions correspond to the character the same way in training for a skill you develop it. So you don't become a bad person out of nowhere. Your character is a direct reflection of the actions that you've made a habit of doing. And I don't really have to go too deep into that. I'm pretty sure you guys understand it. But I thought about a lot of people I know in my life and even myself. In this next portion, he goes over bravery and a little bit deeper in the character. But there's one thing out of everything that stood out to me. And I feel like it sums up the idea of what he was getting at. The praiseworthy stand firm in sudden dangers, more so than anticipated ones. Sudden dangers test one's stable character, not mere preparation. When danger is foreseen, a person might calculate and reason through it. But in sudden threats, only the deeply ingrained habit of mind will guide action. And that was phenomenal to me. Because I've always been the type of person who wants to anticipate or predict what could happen to me. What's the worst that could happen? And although that's good in theory, to prepare and have everything somewhat figured out before the action itself happens. But that also led to me not being able to act in the moment. Like I'll be paralyzed in the moment because I don't know what to do. It's kind of like how when you're playing basketball, you're practicing for the game, right? But that's a completely different scenario when you're in the game. Like you can practice all day, but what you do in the actual event will reflect who you are as a person. So when he says only the deeply ingrained habit of mind will guide action, that was like, I don't know. It was something that I always knew in the back of my head, like conscious acts influence your subconscious mind. Like the more you do something, the better you get at it, the more adaptable you are in situations regarding that. But I think it's just the phrasing, man, because seriously, only the deeply ingrained habit of mind will guide action. Only those who are deeply ingrained in who they are and what they are and have developed these habits will actually pursue and succeed in action that especially comes out of nowhere. And after this, he says, the one who remains steady under fear is more truly brave than the one who merely seeks out danger with confidence. Courage is more about enduring pain than avoided pleasure. This is why courage is rightly praised. It is harder to face what is painful than to restrain oneself from what is pleasant. So I mean, bar after bar, man, this guy is going crazy. I got stars all through these notes right here, man. Seriously. But man, the one who remains steady under fear is more truly brave than the one who merely seeks out danger with confidence. You know, a lot of us, well, not even a lot of us, you hear all the time people telling you to go in blind, right? That's how you build confidence. But you can go in blind and not be prepared at all for, you know, what's there to hit you, like what it is that's gonna happen, and that's where people fold. And it's not necessarily courageous for just going in there and failing. What's courageous is enduring that and coming back stronger, right? Avoiding pleasure. You know, a lot of us, we can avoid things we know we need to do for the sake of other things or because we're afraid of the pain that comes with it. But what makes you courageous, what makes you brave, is facing that which is painful and restricting yourself from the things that are pleasant. And that's something that I deeply needed to see, because when I was first getting into sales in my career, I for sure avoided what I know I needed to do. I avoided the dialing aspect of it to go watch a YouTube video or go watch a Playboy Max stream. You know, this is like 2025, right? So I was a coward. I couldn't sit there and I couldn't face what it was that I needed to do. And because of that, I spent months with anxiety and depression and just low confidence. And that's because I never put myself in a position to develop the positive habits that will reframe my entire mind, like my entire way of perceiving what was around me. Like I was habitually thinking negative and I was habitually chasing pleasures rather than the pain needed for growth. And facing that pain head on and actually growing and perceiving what it was that fabricated pain was, because it wasn't really even pain. It was just me not believing in myself and not having put in the work or the research necessary to even know what I was getting into. But that's a whole entirely separate thing. I'll probably make a video about that in the future. And you know, in this next portion, he goes pretty deeply into pleasures, right? What these pleasures actually are, and self-mastery and self-control. And instead of going through the whole thing, I'm just going to talk about the things that, like I said, stood out to me. So those lacking in self-control enjoy what ought not to be enjoyed, or they enjoy things in excessive degree, or in the wrong way, or at improper times. So excess in pleasure is what defines lack of self-control and is rightly subject to blame. The person who lacks self-control feels excessive pain when deprived of pleasure. Even pleasures become a source of pain when it is missed. The person of preferred self-mastery, on the other hand, is not troubled by such absence. The person who lacks self-control desires either all pleasant things or the most intense among them and chooses them above all else. While the person of perfect self-mastery does not take pleasures in what delights the vicious man. In fact, he tends to dislike them. He does not pursue inappropriate pleasures, nor does he pursue appropriate ones excessively. He is not troubled by their absence, and he desires them only within reason. And once again, these are things, you hear and it's like, yeah, of course. But, on a deeper level, when you start to look at which one of these archetypes of character that you fall into, man, a lot of us are that person who lacks self-control. We clearly aren't perfected self-mastery, because if we were, we'd probably be in completely different parts of our lives. So, looking at this, it really opened my eyes to the type of person I grew up as. Like I definitely lack self-control, man. Because think about when you're a child, man, you don't get what you want, you're crying, right? If you don't get that pleasure, you complain. Think about growing up, being a teenager, an adult. When you don't get what you want, you complain, you're mad. Like when the pleasure that you believe that you need is taken away from you, a lot of us crumble, or we complain, or we get attitudes, or just a lot of different things that just shows our own lack of self-control. And all of us prefer pleasures, of course, right? And a lot of the times, man, we neglect what we know we need to do in sake of those pleasures. And the thing about somebody with self-mastery is that they don't even pursue inappropriate pleasures, or even the pleasures that they do pursue, they don't do them excessively. So it's about moderation. You aren't upset that you can't scroll on your phone. You're not upset that you don't have the AC right now. You're not upset that things aren't going the way you want them to be, right? So it's really just about not only understanding yourself and what pleasures and pains are and how they impact you, but understanding that the most crucial part of self-control in and of itself is the fact that you can do this in moderation, that you can do these things in moderation. It is easier to become trained by habit, to resist pleasure. There are many pleasures in life, and you can build up your resistance to them habitually without danger. Whereas it is harder to habituate oneself to resist fear, since fearful experiences are dangerous in themselves. There's a bunch of pleasures that we can definitely change, right? And I don't know what your pleasure may be, but I'm pretty sure we all have something that we do excessively, or something that we can cut out and use to kind of train that self-control. This is the end, and I feel like it's a great way to end this. If the appetite is not held in check and made to follow reason, it becomes excessive. In the foolish person, the desire for pleasure becomes insatiable and undiscerning. And every time a person acts on such a desire, it strengthens the underlying disposition. Every time you act on an urge or impulse, all that does is make that urge and that impulse even stronger. If desires are strong and intense, they can even overwhelm reason entirely. I'm pretty sure we've all felt that in some way. We've all had a desire, we had a feeling, and we did something that was against total reason, but that's because we caved into that desire. Therefore, they must be moderate and few, in no way allowed to contradict reason. So those pleasures that are able to completely erase reason for what feels like a split second are the ones we need to moderate. They are the ones we need to work on. That way they can no longer have such a power over our reason. The appetitive part of the soul, I hope I'm saying that right, which I labeled as a subconscious, should be ruled by reason. The person of self-mastery's appetitive part is in harmony with reason, for both parts aim at the same end, what is right. And man, I'm going to go so deep into that topic in another video, but that's pretty much all we had today. This wasn't really supposed to be structured or set up good, or it's supposed to be some rough, scrappy, just studying. And there's a lot of topics that I went over today that I'm definitely going to go more in depth with in the future. Preferably give them their own video, because we only glossed over these topics today. So that's the video for today, y'all. I just went over the notes, and we'll do this again soon. Okay, so I ain't gonna hold you for too long, man. Have a good day, and next time this will be way more structured.